I'm Bill Bacinas. I'm the Director of Technical Marketing for Infinidat. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our InfuzeOS capabilities for our hybrid multi-cloud implementations. So InfuzeOS, I've talked previously in the first section around it powers everything that we do from our on-prem solutions. It also powers our hybrid cloud solutions. We have taken a full instantiation of InfuzeOS, and we have ported that to be supported in AWS. We did that about a year and a half ago. And this past spring, we added Microsoft Azure to that. Same capabilities, right? There's a few differences from the on-prem, which I'm going to go specifically into. But today, not everything happens completely within the data center. And many of our customers want that same ease of use, that same experience in the cloud. So that was why we provided the capability with InfuzeOS, having ported it to Azure and AWS. So when we look at it from that perspective, over the last year, we haven't done anything different in the kinds of data services that it provides. It still uses neural cache, like I explained about it. It still uses InfiniRAID on the back end. It still has our InfiniSafe cyber technologies in it. It still has some of our all of our InfiniOps AI and DevOps-based interfaces available to it. It uses the same software management interfaces, right? If you have the network connectivity set up the right way, one interface manages everything. Okay, so they'll see an InfiniBox in the cloud, exactly like they'll see an InfiniBox on their on-prem estate. It will support block and file.
So can you describe what InfiniRAID and InfiniSafe are? I mean, those sound like part of the differentiating technology that you would have in here, and you're just saying, yes, it has them. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. InfiniRAID, again, is our software-based RAID architectures. Right? We built a very resilient way that we manage RAID across, again, JBOD or JBOF. So we overlay all of that disk with InfiniRAID. That's how we manage RAID. Okay.
So is it like RAID 5, RAID 6?
It's an extended RAID 6 architecture.
RAID 6.
Yeah.
So no erasure coding.
No.
Okay.
Not even for your SSD products?
No, not today. We haven't needed it.
Okay.
Right? We really haven't needed it because of the way that we manage it. Right. When we talk about how people use our systems and from a performance characteristic, there aren't too many people who are deleting data on primary storage systems today. And people are so interested in keeping the data there from a performance perspective. We don't need to handle, we have to worry about that sort of complexity at the device level, right? InfiniRAID will use any and all the devices available. And it doesn't have to, even in the COD model where they might have a full ROC, but maybe they're licensed half the capacity, it will still lay the data out across all the devices, okay? It makes, the InfiniRAID is patented, and this makes our system highly resilient. So we have customers who, especially when they get a box and it's new to them, if they happen to have a device or two or something like that goes down, they go into a panic. Because traditionally, systems that have RAID 6-based underlying architectures, when you get to a second drive failure, especially in the same RAID set, right, you're at risk. We have customers, because of the way that we handle the RAID at the software layer, we can lose literally dozens of devices, and the system will still operate just fine, right? So we don't have to deploy a tech out to replace a drive or two. Customers soon learn this, right? They get panicky. Well, the drives are hot pluggable. Sometimes they'll just say, send me the drives, I'll plug them in. We get them over the hump, but they soon learn that, I don't have to worry about 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 drives failing in the system, because the system's going to continue to run. And by the way, because of Infiniverse and because their TAs are involved in it, we probably know before they do that they've even had a drive failure.
Okay. Do you do this through like hot spares or
Spare capacity?
spare capacity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is InfiniSafe?
InfiniSafe is all of our cyber resilience technology. Now, I'm going to talk. I have a whole section on that at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, one question on that RAID. I see the need for RAID indeed when drives are failing in physical boxes in my data center. But then what about if you're running it in the cloud in Azure and AWS? How do you provide those disks there? But because I don't expect that the drive fails in the cloud.
When I'll talk about this, I think on the next slide, there are differences from an availability perspective, and we don't provide the same level. We can't provide the same level of guarantees that we do with our on-prem solutions because we don't control the underlying hardware architecture in the cloud.
And then the question is, why do you need RAID at that moment, or RAID 6, let's say?
Yeah.
But let's take a look at the slide. Yeah.
So, actually, let me make sure I did cover all of this. So the other piece of this is that I talked about a 3-node architecture on our on-prem products. Today, our architecture in the cloud is a single compute instance, right? So inherently, because again, we have customers who are asking when we're going to get to multi-node configurations in the cloud, but we haven't really kind of gotten there yet from a workload perspective and understanding exactly how we're going to do that, right? We ultimately want to get there, but today we're building our cloud implementations kind of in a crawl, walk, run type of a basis to see where it's going to ultimately take us and where customers are going to drive workloads to. So today in the cloud, it's a single node implementation, but again, it's all the same functionality, but it's built on, say, like I can't remember the exact name of the AWS instance that it's built on, what the underlying recommended storage architecture to that.
Yeah, Bill, I want to make sure we get time to get into the AI stuff because that's what we really want to hear about. Yep. So I know we're diving into stuff here, and I'm not, if the questions are here, but I want to make sure that we do talk about that.
Yep. That's I think we're okay.
Okay.
So again, it's the same software, slightly different implementation as to how it lives in the cloud, right? Obviously, and again, because what I mentioned is the guarantees that we provide because of the architecture and some of the limitations that we have in the cloud make it a little more difficult for us to ultimately get there to the 3-node architecture, but it's our plans to ultimately at some point get there based on some of the new enhancements that we'll have over the next 12 to 18 months will make that journey, I think, a little bit easier.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Right where you were. So this says block and file or Ethernet-based protocols only.
Because that's all they'll provide us, right? The cloud provides.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We're limited to that environment. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I was thinking you claim you have fiber channel adapters in your box. So okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we provide, again, we still provide compression up there too. So we'll take that EC2, we'll take that storage as well and provide compression on top of it too. Right, and the use cases today, these are most of the use cases. They're fairly simplistic, but we are planning, and we do have some architecture work that we've done as well in the area of AI. So today, most of the use cases are around a lot of functional test dev, cloud-based, general cloud-based, and application-based storage, backup targets, replication targets, and so on.